I'm Toby Hall, Executive Vice President and Chief Information Officer for Delta Dental of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. Welcome to the virtual intern experience. As far as career goes and how I got to where I am, I've had kind of an interesting journey. I finished undergrad at Western Michigan University, got a degree in statistics. So first thing I asked myself was, what does one do with a bachelor's degree in stats? And the unfortunate answer was probably not a lot. With a master's or doctorate, plenty of opportunities, but with a bachelor's degree, maybe not so much. So that put me in a position to decide, well, did I want to bite off that obligation and commitment of grad school? Talked with advisors, highly recommend that. Your advisors are there to help, and was cautioned, hey, if you're not in it 100%, maybe get yourself there 100% or rethink that. And I was not 100% committed to a doctorate. Stuck around at Western, did some teaching and did some research with a professor while I tried to sort of sort it out, and realized teaching, that was something maybe I could see that as a career. So post-baccalaureate, I went back and got a teaching endorsement, was certified for high school math and history. And so I taught math. I taught high school math and taught at a college, a community college. I was one of these dumb guys that thought all adults did this. I would show up at the high school at 7 a.m. and I would teach till 10 p.m. That was my kind of typical day. Teach at the high school, pack up, go over, have office hours, teach at the college till about 10 o'clock at night. I was 23, 24 and had the energy to do it. So did that for a bit. And then looked into something to do in the summer to come back to the math classroom. So when students said, hey, Mr. Hall, why do I have to learn y equals mx plus b? I would have a credible reason for that. Looked into actuarial internships, learned a lot more about the actuarial career and realized that was probably a better fit for me, and went whole hog at the actuarial career, resigned from teaching, took the entire series of actuarial licensing exams, and ended up here at Delta Dental. Spent a long time here in the actuarial area, rising to chief actuary. Then the second big career pivot hit me when we needed somebody to lead an effort to rebuild our entire claim system, billing, eligibility, the full stack of IT programs it takes to run an insurance company. We were gonna rebuild that. I was asked to do that. I was kind of dumb enough to make eye contact at the time when we were looking for volunteers. So we needed somebody from the business side to lead the business half of that project. And ended up doing that. There was easily 6-8 of us that could have done it. I was the one who did, and ended up getting a lot of experience in the IT realm. And then we had a looming retirement. Our existing CIO is retiring here in just a couple months. So got nominated as our next CIO. Before I had worked in one, I had my idea of what life in an insurance company was like. I thought it was a lot of people in their cubes with their starched white shirts reviewing claims and checks being cut, and that was about it. There's a lot more to an insurance company than that. Pretty much you think about a business-related career, it exists within an insurance company. We have a team of lawyers. We have a team that does marketing. We have a team that does corporate communications. We have community relations. We have people who do process claims. We have people answering phones. There's pretty much any business-related job you can think of exists within an insurance company. It's, in my mind, a fantastic industry to get in, especially if you know you want to be in the business world. You're not exactly sure where you want to fit in. Interning at an insurance company would be a great way to find out, especially if that insurance company during your internship allows you to sort of pop around and experience different things. Especially now, when I went through college, I graduated college in the late 90s, internships were a thing and they were encouraged, but it wasn't approaching the table stakes that it is now. And so I think that's sort of the bad news, maybe, if you will, is that internships, employers are really starting to look for those. I think college shows me that you know a lot. An internship shows me you can do a lot. And those are two very different skill sets. A successful internship or two under your belt makes you a much more marketable candidate. Now, I say that's sort of the bad news is the competition is there. The good news is, and if there's anything good that came out of a pandemic, is that virtual internships do exist. We can do those internships and not require you to be within a 20-mile radius. Just in my own shop, we've had interns. We had one from California a few years ago, never even set foot in the state of Michigan, and was a fantastic intern. So I think they're a great way to learn those skills you can't learn sitting in a classroom, reading from a textbook, mastering a syllabus. Those are all important things. We need to do them, but there's other job-related skills we look for that you can't learn in that setting, and an internship is a great way to do it. I think no matter what your chosen field is, no matter how you get started, no matter what that path you think is, stepping outside of your comfort zone is one of those things that will kind of differentiate the herd. It'll thin out the herd a little bit. You could count on one hand the number of people in their 20s that had a plan and then their life went exactly according to plan. That just doesn't happen. That's not to say you shouldn't have a plan. You absolutely should have a plan, but be flexible and be prepared for it to change. You never quite know what life throws at you. You can choose in many cases to turn those opportunities down and say, I like my current role. I like the path I'm on. I want to stay there. That's okay. That has some career consequences to it. And if you're good with it, it's good for your family and your life, then go for it. I was looking for something a little different. I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to learn something new. And when those opportunities come along, grabbing them with both hands is sometimes the best thing you can do. This is an age-old question. How do I stand out and demonstrate that I bring some value when I really don't have any direct experience? And some of it is in the resume process and cover letter process. Most places where interns are coming from, be it high school or college, there's someone there that can help with career advice, career counseling, reviewing a cover letter. Do not take your cover letter straight from ChatGPT. We will be able to tell. That's fine to use it as a starter, but don't be afraid to go in and make some edits. And resume tips, those are underused resources. So take advantage of those no matter where you happen to be. And then make sure your entire value pitch in the resume, the cover letter, the interview process is done through the lens of what you can do for the company. What the company, yes, they're taking a risk, but try not to come across as you're doing the company a favor by being there. It's more of, hey, here's the value I can add. Here's a new energy I can bring to the department. To me, that's one of the biggest advantages of our summer interns is the energy level just changes in those departments in a very good, positive way. They're young, they're smart, they're hungry, and it makes the full-timers kind of find a new gear and think about things a little different. It challenges old ways of working. And I think if you can highlight that, that's a good thing, and come to that interview well prepared. We all have our favorite interview questions, and I'll spoiler alert, I'll tell you mine. What did you do to prepare for this interview is a great question because it gives me insight into, are you a do the minimum kind of person, or are you a go the extra mile kind of person? A not great answer to that would be, I found the building, I drove by it and figured out where I wanted to park. That's leaning towards the do the minimum. The better answer is, I research your products, your competitors. I know you're trying to move into this space. An entrenched incumbent is this company, and here's what I know about them. That is wildly different and completely done sitting at your desk through Google. Say is if you're getting ready for the interview, get some reps in. Despite what people tell you, like going through a list of interview questions is probably not the right way to do this. Sitting down and having somebody conduct a mock interview, they'll never be able to ask all of the questions that your employer is going to ask, but you can get your reps in thinking on your feet. And the types of questions, you'll be surprised how quickly your brain will adapt. And, I've never heard this question before, but I've heard some other things kind of like it, and now I'm not thrown off my game. So do 2, 3, 4 practice interviews. If you can get somebody to record them for you, so much the better. And if you get those reps in, your actual live fire interview will be much better. So once you're in the door as an intern and you're thinking about ways to stand out, the best ones I can give you are maintaining a good positive attitude and demonstrating a work ethic. Fits in with the culture of the company as best you can. And the 2 specific behaviors I can point to that I've seen from interns that have been really successful is maintaining a bit of an outgoing personality, not to the point where it's coming across as fake or intrusive or overly social, but don't be the wallflower that just sits in your cube and does your work either. Make sure you integrate with the team a little bit. Let them get to know you. That's equally important. This is, in many cases, a 12-week interview. So having that outgoing personality, come across as somebody that would fit in, somebody the team would like to work with. The other behavior is don't be afraid to ask for work. I see some interns, typically I always tell my hiring managers, if you've got enough work to keep an intern busy, 80% of the time it's worth going to market for an intern. Less than that, it might not be worth. But that leaves 20%. And that's okay, because part of the intern sponsor obligation is to plug you in and let you see other parts of the company kind of as an observer. And that's what I would backfill that 20%. But don't be afraid to say, hey, I think I've finished this assignment. The next one's not ready yet. What can I do? How can I help for the next half a day or day? And go ahead and insert yourself, plug yourself in. They may tell you nothing. Just go observe and attend a meeting and just kind of be there. And that's okay. But I guarantee it left an impression that you went out of your way to ask. There's a couple things they could do to take that full-time offer sort of off the table. And that's assuming there is a full-time offer available. One would be kind of the opposite of the things that make you a desirable intern. So being a very passive, I'm not proactive. I want work to land on me. I'm not going to go seek new things, or I'm not going to insert and socialize with the rest of the teams. That's probably one way that they may love the work you did for the summer, but they may pass on that. A sense of what the company can do for you rather than what you can do for the company. You're there to add value. You're there to make yourself appear as a good part of the team. We've got a need. We could plug you in right away and you could contribute. What can the company do for me is probably not the right way to go and not the right way to be perceived. If you're in the door somewhere as an intern and we think there's a full-time offer available, you think you've got a good shot, it's worth it to spend some time thinking about if it would be a good fit. And I think I'm going to say the bar is set, and I'm purposely saying this, the bar is kind of low. As long as the work that you do is moderately engaging some of the time, it's a pretty low bar, and your company is ethical, of course. They're not polluting the environment and doing other horrible things. It's an ethical company. The work is moderately engaging some of the time. It absolutely boils down to the people you work with. And if you, throughout those 12 weeks, you think this is a team you would like to spend time with, does not mean you're best friends, does not mean you're socializing afterwards, but you could spend 8.5, 9 hours a day with this team and be happy and fulfilled. That goes a long way towards it being a good fit. Then I would pivot a little bit and say, okay, now we've crossed that bridge. It's a good team I want to get to know and work with. Then look for a manager or signs of a manager that has sort of the heart of a teacher and is going to invest a little bit in you. I don't think at entry level is at all too early for that. I think the good managers do make investments in those entry level people. Is it somebody who's going to help stretch you, develop you, give you new challenges, or is it just going to be a one-way distribution of work? And that's very transactional. If it feels transactional, long-term, that's probably not the best fit. Internship wraps up. You are lucky enough to land that full-time job. What does the first year to 2 years look like? So I would say the interview process or the internship process is an extended interview. Once that wraps up, that doesn't mean like all bets are off and we can kind of perform any way we want. That early period of your career is still an extended first impression. I would say it's more about consistency at this point. We don't need to be, Olympic level performance at every minute of every day, but we need to be putting forth good effort, acceptable to above acceptable performance over an extended period of time. Being seen as the steady Eddie that you can always count on is kind of the sweet spot of where you want to be. During that initial phase too, you're not at a position quite yet in the career to turn work down. So at that point, I think being willing to say yes to almost anything is a good place to be. Now, don't stretch yourself so thinly that your quality suffers. And your manager should help you with that in triage, if you need things taken off your plate. But being known as the person, hey, we've got this piece of this project, we need an extra set of hands on, being the go-to person that will say yes and deliver on that is going to pay off huge dividends over time. So it's that long-term, think about over a year, consistent level of performance day in and day out, flashes of brilliance along the way. Doesn't have to be brilliant every single day though.
Thank you for watching. To learn more, check out virtualinternexperience.com.